What's up guys, today I want to teach you how to create fully working help system for your game. And if you enjoy my videos, please like this one and subscribe to my channel. It will mean a lot. So now without further ado, let's begin. And I have this project, it's from one of my courses. And by the way, I have a lot of courses about game development in Unity 2D and 3D both. And even if you're completely new, you can still check them out because I explain you everything in a very simple way from beginning. So link will be in the description and comments down below. Now let's get started. And well, first of all, we need some kind of obstacle. Well, I have this obstacle model, but you can use simple 2D object, sprite, and I don't know, anything. Let's use circle. Okay, as this circle will act like our obstacle and it will be able to damage our player. Now what this circle needs? Well, it needs to have collider because we need to interact with it. So let's click add components and let's add, well, circle collider 2D will work fine. Also we'll activate is trigger option, all right, because we will need it in our script. Now let's go and create our script. So right click on the assets folder, create mono behavior script or C# script if you are using older Unity version. And I have already empty script. I called it player health. You can call it same. And well, make sure to assign this player health into your player game object. Okay. Well, I already have it here. And let's double click to open in Visual Studio. Now what we need here? Well, we will need to have few variables. So let's say public int, and well, I will create current health, comma, max health, and damage amount. So amounts of damage that we should decrease from our health. Now, when the game starts, we want to start with the maximum amount of health. So I will say current health equals max health, simple, and semicolon in the void start. Now let's create function which will be called when our player should get damaged, and this function should be public. So public void deal damage brackets and open and close curly brackets. Now what we need here, basically we will take our current health and we will say minus equals our damage amount. Now if you don't know what is minus equals, it's same as to say current health equals current health minus damage amount. Those two lines are same. First one is just shorter and more professional, so here we go. That's minus equal. We are taking current health and we are decreasing it by damage amount. So let's remove the second line. Also, we need to say what should happen when our health gets to 0. So we will say if current health is less or equal to 0. And in brackets, well, basically here you can do a lot of things. Either you can activate some game over screen if you have, or you can simply restart your level. To restart your level, up top, we'll say using Unity Engine scene management to load scene manager, and here we can say scene manager dot load scene, and in brackets we can say scene manager dot get active scene brackets dot build index. Why we are doing like this? Because I want this mechanic to work in all of the levels. Even if you have hundreds of levels, this script should work. So this way Unity will check in which scene we are at the moment and will restart that specific scene. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you also want to have some kind of effect when you get damaged, you can say, you can have reference here, public game object, uh, let's call it damage effect. And here in the deal damage, we can use instantiate method, which basically creates game objects in our scene. In order this to work, we need to have few parameters. We need to tell what we are creating. Well, we are creating damage effect, comma. Then it needs to know position where to create, we can use our player's position, so player.position, comma, and we can use quaternion.identity to save original rotation. That's it for the player help script. We can save the script. Now, problem is that, yeah, we have this deal damage, but we are not calling this deal damage from anywhere. So let's go back, let it compile, and we will create another script, but this time we will assign script to our obstacle itself. Okay, so let's create another script. I already have one. I called it damage player, and I will assign it to our circle. Okay, also let's select player, and you should make sure that the tag here is set to player. So open this tags window and just assign player tag to your player. Okay, and now let's open our damage player script and let's work on it. Well, here we can use on trigger enter 2D function, which basically will be called when something will trigger collider of our circle. So we can say on trigger enter 2D, hit enter, and it should auto compile. But if for some reason it's not auto compiling in your case, don't worry, you can type it by hand. Now, to make everything more specific, we can find our player tag. So we can say if collision.gameObject.tag double equals, and in quotation marks, we can say player with a capital P, just like we had in our tag, in our player tag with a capital P. Type it correctly because it's case sensitive. So what we are doing, when game object with the tag of player will trigger our circles collider, what should happen when basically our player should get damaged? So we should call deal damage function that we created in our player health. Now, problem is that deal damage function is in other script, so we are not able to just go here and simply say deal damage. It's not gonna work. First, we need to access that player help script. There are multiple ways how we can access. One of the ways is to use getComponent method and create variable to store information about player health. To do that, first we will say name of the script that we are trying to access. So in my case, player health, and I will name it player health, but with lowercase p, so don't get confused. This first one is our script name, and the second one is our variable name, equals collision dot get components, and in here we will place player health brackets and semicolon. That's it. So basically, when player will touch our circle, Unity will check our player's settings, will check what is assigned in the player, and we'll find that we have here player health. Okay, and well, we'll store information about it into this variable of player health. And now we can simply say player health dot deal damage brackets semicolon, and that's it. We can save. So let's go back and let's see. Let's select player into the player help script. We need to do few things. Well, current health we don't need to change, but maximum health I will make it 5 and damage amount 1. Also, this damage effect, you should drop some kind of damage effects. I have little bit of effects of these JMO assets. I will leave links of it, links to it in the description, so you can also use it. It has a lot of different effects. You can play around, and when you find something, you will just select player and you will drop that effect here in the damage effect field. But anyway, let's hit play and let's test. Now, let's scroll down. We have 5 health, 5 current health. Let's touch this obstacle. And here we go. We have 4 health, also effect played, 3 health, 2, 1, and 0, and our level restarted. That's the first point. Now let's work on UI, and I will teach you how to create some slider here. For that, I also have some kind of UI visuals, and also I will include a link to it in the description so you can use it. Basically, it has these border elements, okay, and these fill elements. So to work in Canvas, obviously, if you already have Canvas, you will click on the Canvas. If you don't have, you will right click on the empty space, you will find UI, and you will create image. I will do it in the Canvas since I already have it. UI and image, and I will name it border. Let's select border, let's hit F, and here is our border. It's up to you where you want to place it. I will place it at the top left. I will resize it with the rec tool little bit. And if we go in game view, this is how it looks like. Of course, we don't want this white blank image. So if we select border, you see we have this source image field. So we can drop our border right here, any of those borders. Here we go, we have border. What I like to do, I like to click set native size, and I like to scale it up from here uh, because it will look better. And when you're happy with the results, let's go in scene view, and in the canvas, let's right click and let's create empty game object with the name of health bar, and this health bar will handle all of our UI elements. Now, this health bar is just empty game object, but it has these borders, as you see. We can select this move tool and move it here next to our health bar border. And what I will do, I will try to match size of this border to be same as the size of this other one. So let's select direct tool and let's just resize this health bar so that it will match our border, just like so. And I will drop my border inside this health bar. So health bar will become parent and border will become child. Also, you can select health bar, you can click anchor points and anchor it where you want. For example, I will anchor it at the top left so that our health bar will always appear at the top left corner. Now, in the health bar, let's right click, UI and image, and let's name it fill. What I will do, I will select this fill, I will select anchor points, I will hold down Alt and select this last one, stretch all the way, okay? Now, let's change the source image to this red one, okay? And I will select this rect tool and I will resize it to match our health bar. So it will be, this red line will be inside this health bar, just something like this. You get the point. Now, in this field, we will change image type to be field, fill method to be horizontal, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, let's select health bar. We can add, click on this add component, and I will type slider, which is main component of the health bar. And here we should drop our fill in this fill rect. So let's drop our fill right here. I will select whole numbers, and max value I will set it to 5, and now we have this value, and look at our health bar is decreasing and increasing. So we have slider. By default I will make it on max, obviously. And well, now we need to work on our health bar, and we need to basically connect this max value and value components with our current health, which we have in our player health script. How to do that? Well, first of all, we will need new script. So open, create new script. I already have one. I called it health bar, and I will assign it to our health bar game object right here. And let's double click to open in Visual Studio. We need to get reference to our slider, and since our slider is part of Unity's UI system, up top we should go and import libraries. So I will say using Unity Engine .ui and semicolon. Now we can say public slider. Let's call this one slider with a lowercase s. We don't need the start and update. I will remove them. Instead, we will create two public functions. Public void, let's call this one set max health. And in brackets, as a placeholder, I will create integer with the name of health. And I will explain you why we need it. But first, let's create another uh, function, public void. Let's call this one set health, and I will create same integer right here, int health. Now, um, as I told you, we need to connect our value and max value to our current health. Basically, it means that we should call those set max health and set health into the player health script, but instead of this placeholder integer of health, we will use our current health. That's why for now, let's use this placeholder. And here we will say slider dot max value equals health for now and semicolon. Also slider dot value equals health. And to update everything correctly, here we will say slider dot value equals health as well. So we have sorted max value and value, and only thing that is left is to call those two functions into our player health script. So let's save this health bar and let's go in the player health script. Now we need to access that health bar script. So let's say here public name of the script that we are trying to access, which is health bar, and I will call it health bar with the lowercase h and semicolon. Now, right here, when the game starts, we will say health bar dot set max health, and in brackets, instead of that placeholder health, we will use current health, semicolon. And here, when we get damage, we need to update our health bar, so we will say health bar dot set health this time, and in brackets, we will say current health, semicolon at the end. So let's go back and let's see. Let's select health bar. We need to drop slider right here. So let's take and drop our slider here. Let's select our player and we should drop our health bar right here in the player health. Let's drop it and let's hit play. So when the game starts, we have full health. Let's get damaged. And yep, our health is decreasing, 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 and it's 0. Here we go. This is how easily you can create fully working health system for your game. And once again, if you want to learn game development more in more details, more slowly from beginning, I have courses for you. I will leave a link down below so you can check them out. And thanks for watching. If you like my content, please like this one and subscribe to my channel. See you later.